Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Gypsy Nurse Live. I'm Rachel Alton, the online community manager for the Gypsy Nurse, and today we have our friends from AMN joining us. But before we get started, let's take a moment and see how the Gypsy Nurse can help you along your journey. TGN is a one-stop shop resource for travel healthcare workers. You can plan your adventure with our downloadable Travel Nurse Guide, find your next assignment with our job board, and find a place to stay with our housing partner, Furnish Finder. And there's so much more that you can unlock on thegypsynurse.com. Not only are we the largest online community, but we're also the largest in-person travel healthcare conference in Las Vegas. Every year we meet up with other travelers, and you can meet up with your recruiters, get CEs at a really great price, learn more about the travel healthcare world, and dance the night away at our infamous after party September 21st through the 24th. 2025 at the Paris in Las Vegas. You do not want to miss this, but you don't want to miss out on the event of the year and miss out on meeting AMN. So go on over to travcon.org to learn more. So let's bring on our friends Sandra, Kendall, and Molly from AMN to discuss how you can secure your fall and holiday assignments. So let me bring everybody up. Hi, ladies. How are we doing?
Hi, Rachel. We're doing good and so excited to be here. Thanks for having us. We always love to talk to the Gypsy community.
We love having you. I will let you take it away. Some very exciting things happening. So very important. Everyone wants their time off for holidays and the fall season. So go ahead and pass that over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. And hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so excited to be back here with the Gypsy Nurse. We're very thrilled to be fresh off of TravCon as well, where we got to see so many of you. Definitely the place to be. So make sure that you don't miss out next year. Come see us and learn so many great things from TravCon. Before I jump in, I would love to have my co-presenters here introduce themselves. So I have Miss Kendall, and then I'll go over to you, Molly. Kendall, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Kendall Jacobs. I am a director here in the Travel Nurse Division at AMN. I've been here about 6 years, started off as a recruiter and then worked my way up to the director role. I know you didn't mention this, but I'm just going to say it. Fun facts. I love fun facts. They are my pride and joy. You think I'd be better at trivia, but I am not. But I make up for it in passion for useless knowledge. So that's a little bit about me.
I love it. Thank you, Kendall. Molly, let's hear from you.
Hello, I'm Molly. I've been a recruiter with AMN for a little over 4 years now. It's actually insane, but I love every minute of it. I'm super excited to be on this panel and answer any questions and talk about traveling through the holidays. And I guess I'll do a fun fact too. I just got a little 4-month-old kitty. She's the best. She's a lot, but she's the best. I love her so much. And her name is Khaleesi from Game of Thrones.
I love that. And that's a great fun fact. Yeah. I would love, before we start and really get jumping in here, would love to hear where all of you are joining us from. Throw in the chat where you are joining from. It looks like we've already got somebody from Gina from Baltimore, Maryland. Hello, Ms. Gina. Let us know where you're joining us from. And then also let us know what questions you have. We have some good stuff we're going to talk about as it pertains to the holidays and travel and what that looks like for the fall and winter seasons. But would also like to hear from you what questions you have for us or what we can help you work through. So before I jump in, also can't start one of these without just thanking all of you, our wonderful healthcare workers, our nurses, allied professionals, whoever you are out there. Thank you for everything that you do. It is hugely impactful, and we appreciate you every day and just want to make sure that you know that as well. All right, let's jump in. Molly, why should all of our listeners here, all of our clinicians, consider traveling during this time of year, during the winter or during the fall?
Yeah. And I know, talking to nurses every single day, there's a lot of nurses that do want to take that time off, and it's totally understandable. We want to be around our family, our friends, and we kind of just want to have some relaxing time over the holidays. But traveling through the holidays is so important for the facilities. They still have a huge need. Patients, they're there without their family. So it's kind of like you're there with them and, you're doing the right deed by doing that. And, you go into nursing for passion. And I think that, traveling through the holidays is fun. And whether, if you wanted to go travel, next to your family or visit a friend, it's a perfect time to do it. But yeah, that's really some of the reasons. But of course, there's so many other reasons to travel, especially during the holidays.
Absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit more about just that, the passion and the care of being someplace that's new and different, but also that ability to spend time with your family. I just have to shout out that Natalie is joining us from her current assignment on Martha's Vineyard. Can't think of a better place to be during this time of year. It has to be so picturesque, Natalie. So we want to see pictures. But Kendall, talk to us a little bit about what Molly was hitting on with just the needs that are out there, and why it is a benefit. Also, what we hear all the time, I feel like, is I just want to wait till January. I don't want to travel right now. I want to take a break, and we understand you need a break. But let's talk a little bit about what that looks like, especially in today's market.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been seeing jobs and positions grow week over week, month over month for the last couple of weeks and months because the holidays are busy for everyone and hospitals are no different. So to ensure that they can provide the highest level of patient care for their local communities, it's really crucial that they find those holes. They look at their census and they find who can fill in those holes. And that's the beauty of travel contracts. It's the ability to go to a location in need where you can have that impact. And there truly is no bigger impact than during the holidays, not only if you think about just basic clinician experience, but that personal connection that you have with your patients and that overall giving care. It's truly, it's unparalleled in my mind. Like, if you're wanting to go into it to have the largest impact possible, and I know I keep saying that, but that's really what it is on not only an individual's experience, but your own experience. Traveling during the holidays is the best time to do that. Now, if you're thinking of, I want to wait and think a little bit, if you're thinking of November, December, January, or beyond, we're staffing for that right now. Hospitals need to be proactive again to make sure we don't have any of those holes in patient care. So it's critical that we're taking action now. So if you are looking to travel during the holidays or even potentially after, my biggest word of advice is we need to get your profile up to date and submit you early. Again, we're staffing for it now. And if you're looking for a specific location, shift, time off during the holidays, unit, whatever it might be, the sooner we can get you into the submission process, the better chances we have of matching you with your ideal assignment during this holiday season or even potentially after. Now, when it comes to getting your profile updated, that's updating your skills checklist, getting references on file, doing a virtual interview. And with the AMN Passport app, you can do that comfortably from your own home. So if you don't see something right now that you're wanting to be submitted to, you can be prepared and ready to be submitted and be first in line whenever that opportunity does open up.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about AMN Passport app and how that's a benefit to all of our wonderful candidates out here. I have to call out Steve Curtin. Steve, I feel like I've seen your name before on these lives, and it's great to see you back, but happy to see that you're in Boston, also a great place to be during this time of year. So we'll talk a little bit more about just current market state. And I think for many of you, whether you're first kind of looking into travel or whether you've been a seasoned traveler over the last few years, you've really felt the same shifts in the market that we all have, of course, but in a really shortened time period. And that's a little bit about what Kendall's talking about, is making sure that you are as ready as you possibly can be to take that travel assignment, whether it's in October, it's in November, it's December, January, February, whatever that looks like. We're staffing for all of those needs right now. So how do you make sure that you stand out? And if time off is really important to you, how do you have that conversation with your recruiter as well? Molly, talk to us a little bit more about how you help your clinicians get prepped to take that assignment, and maybe more so what the importance is of having all of the documents that they need on file prior to submitting.
Yeah. Especially in a market like this, like we've talked about, it is just crucial to have a complete profile, is what we say. And now with the passport, and I'll bring it up again because I will always tell my clinicians it's the best. With the passport, you can actually go in on your own time, whether you're looking or not, and get that profile updated. And in a competitive market like this, everybody's taking time off. It's not the best thing to take time off during the holidays, but a lot of people do. And in January, there's an influx of nurses that are coming back and they're, ready, and there's still the same amount of jobs, if not less, because they were all filled now in October, November, December. So going in and having your profile completely ready, you're going to be first in line, first submission. Your recruiter is going to call you once you press that you're submitted on the passport. You can actually check pre-check, and it'll go straight to your recruiter, or you can express interest on there, and they'll get you submitted, and you might be the first submission because you have your profile. And from a recruiter standpoint, we aren't able to send a file unless we have everything on there. So it's great when we both get a win. I can send your file quickly. We get an offer same day sometimes, because you have an updated profile.
Yeah. And I think we can talk a little bit more about this. So getting that profile of yours across to especially the facility that is your number one choice during a competitive time like a January or February, but really even in December, what will make you stand out is making sure that you have everything that you need ready to go. I think we've talked about this in previous Gypsy Lives as well, but references is a big thing. We have a lot of hospitals that need to have those on file, and that might feel different because during the peak of COVID, we really just needed nurses to be wherever we could get them. And now we're getting into this place where we want to make sure that we have the right person for the right assignment. And that's what facilities in our hospitals, our clients are looking for. So utilizing, as you heard from both Molly and Kendall, our Passport app to make sure that you get those documents updated is critically important. The great thing about the Passport app as well is you can load all of those documents, and then you have a wallet that regardless of whether you travel with us or someone else, you have everything in one place. So it's really easy to send all of that credentialing documentation that you're going to need at some point. Something I'll have us dig into a little bit more here as well is in that getting prepped, making sure that you're ready to take an assignment. You heard Molly talk a little bit about some of the AI capability that we're using, and that it can be a little scary. And I would love to hear how you all are feeling about AI. Throw your comments in the chat, because I know that this is a kind of a hot topic in medicine and in nursing right now, and feeling like, gosh, is this something that would replace me? And our answer resoundingly is absolutely not. But what we want AI to support our clinicians with is all of those things that are task oriented, so that you can really focus on the part of your job that is critical, which is helping your patient, seeing how they're really feeling, and providing that passion and care. Kendall, I would love for you to add to that. I know we talked about this a little bit in our prep conversation too.
Yeah, I mean, AI is more so, it's task driven, right? It's seeing, oh, I'm looking for and that's how hospitals are using it. It's for task management. So if they're looking for a specific nurse with a specific certification, right, they can easily go and search for that and it'll populate, right? That's not the same as making eye contact, having a conversation with a patient who's, uncomfortable or in pain or more than just their symptoms. And that's something that the human touch will always be number one. That's something AI can't take over. A computer can't understand or empathize with the patient and what they're going through. And that's really where AI can help assist. And again, those little task-oriented things, but when it comes to the patient experience and that human care, that's something that nurses and any healthcare professional, that's where you're irreplaceable, So that's never going to go away, because think about it. If you're in a hospital and you're, heaven forbid, the patient, do you want the computer next to you telling you what's wrong with you or your next steps or your plan? Or do you want that person who's been with you, who's been talking to you, who's been listening to you, who, has that hands-on approach? Which one would you choose to interact with? And I know my heart will personally break if we ever go to the alternative option. And I don't think we ever will, because again, we're most vulnerable when we're in the hospital, or our families in the hospital. And when we're in those places and points, we want to talk to another human, and we want somebody that understands, and we want somebody that, again, can just listen to us and understand where we're coming from. So when it comes to matching a certification and years of experience to a job, sure, why not? It takes 2 seconds. But when it comes to actually providing that patient care, you're absolutely irreplaceable.
Yeah. And so what you're hearing from both Kendall and Molly is really this focus on how can we make your life easier. So utilizing our Passport app to make sure you have all those documents loaded, because a lot of hospitals now are using technology to help them ensure they're getting the best candidate profiles in front of them. And the speed that comes with that is instantaneous, really. So you want to make sure, whether you're taking an assignment now or later, you have everything on file as soon as possible. So if you haven't heard it from us enough, download the AMN Passport app, start uploading your documents, and take a look at the positions that are available so that you can plan whatever that dream future assignment is. We'll bring it back to winter and holiday and all of that good stuff too. I think something we kind of have gotten away from, which is a little sad, is the experience of travel. And I know I always have major FOMO when I check our AMN Nurse Instagram and see all of the great places that our candidates are. But talk to us a little bit about the experience of travel, right, Molly? Because that's something that you can experience as a travel nurse in a vastly different way than really any of us can.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think of traveling, I have nurses that, always want to go to the hot areas or they want to experience fall. This is the perfect time to do that if you're from the West Coast. And I know it's really hot there if anyone's from the West Coast right now, like in the 90s and 100s. You can take a break from the hot weather, visit a family member. I'm from Kentucky, so it gets cold here. We have all 4 seasons. But you can even go, up to Maine. You can go anywhere and experience, a cold winter, a snowy day. I know a lot of people that have never seen snow, in real time. So the experience can really, it could be about the weather. It could be about, taking a trip to a place that, normally you would never go to. But, maybe you want to experience a fall, a pumpkin spice latte, with the leaves turning and all of that. But yeah, just thinking about an experience over the holidays and a new location when, maybe there's snow on the ground, having your morning coffee and coming into work. That's maybe something that would be a really good travel assignment.
Totally. And if you don't like it, you can always leave, right? After you're done with your assignment, you can experience winter without actually having to live through a full winter. Molly's making fun of me a little bit because out here in Southern California, it's still a little warm. So it's not quite cozy, comfortable sweaters and boots weather yet. And I know that's what we're all craving. So you can experience that in a different way and for a period of time. Kendall, when it comes to the time off, though, this is something we hear quite a bit. What does that look like? What should travelers ask, or what should they expect when traveling at this time of year? Knowing that census has increased, and not just increased due to need and having more and having pneumonia and all the things that come with that, but really because of this element of even loneliness, of people feeling like, well, gosh, if I go into a hospital or into a clinic setting, at least I'm around people. So talk to us a little bit more about that from a time off perspective, but then also just being in that facility setting and what that means for our patients.
Yeah, definitely. So if you look at the nature of what a travel contract is, you're going to a location, you're going to help out on a facility, a community, on a unit to help meet the needs of their patients, right? So what they're looking for first and foremost is just that flexibility because they need help, right? You are there first and foremost to help the patients and to help the hospital. So if you do come in with, we understand everyone has lives, right? We understand everyone has things going on. But if you're going into a situation where your first need and whole purpose for that entire position is to help them, they need you to be there, and they need you to be there when it might be a little bit crazier and census might be a little higher and there might be that additional time off. So that flexibility is so crucial and so appreciated on these travel assignments because they need your help. That's the whole reason why the position exists. So if you do have, must have time off, like Molly said before, just communicate that up front. And if the facility can accommodate it, they can. But if they can't, it truly is because they need to meet the needs of their patients, and you are a pivotal part in that. So always have the discussion, but always come with it with an open mind and keep the purpose of why you're there at the forefront of your mind. You're there to help that patient population during a crazy time. So again, facilities will be open to that discussion. It never hurts to ask, but if it does say no, or they do say no, know where it's coming from, right? And it really is for the greater good of the patients and that community, and they really can't accommodate that. And they would love to, they just can't. It's a crazy time for everyone.
Yeah. And I think we'll talk a little bit too, because it's almost a bit of a negotiation to some extent, right? So everything that you're saying, if you can avoid the time off, it's going to make you stand out amongst all of the other that the facility is getting, because that's someone they don't have to worry about the scheduling component with. But you may be a really fantastic fit for them. So how can you negotiate that a little bit? And Kendall, tell us what you're seeing.
Yeah. So again, if you're looking to, in the highly competitive market that we're in, especially during the winter season, not having any time off, you made the qualifications, you are a dream candidate. The nurse managers will be jumping up and down to get your profile, right? Because again, you're there to help. Now, again, if you do hit all the qualifications and you do have the time off, it's maybe being flexible. So if you do put in like, hey, I want Thanksgiving and Black Friday off, as well as Christmas and Christmas Eve, right? Like that's going to be hard for a facility to approve. So sometimes it's just meeting in the middle, like whether you work Thanksgiving but work Christmas, or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or whatever it is that you celebrate, right? It's just having that negotiation with the facility where you can meet in the middle, again, to meet the needs of the patients, whether that be working one holiday and not the other, and vice versa. To come into it with the expectation that you're not going to work any of the holidays, I think is a little unrealistic, especially when you think about the needs of the unit and just other time off requests that are beyond just your position. So it's, again, opening that discussion of being willing to accommodate them, and they might be willing to accommodate you. And that's where hospitals and clinicians can really, meet in the middle to ensure that we're supporting the units appropriately.
Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't say that this is across the board, but Molly, we do have clinicians who go on assignment too with no time off, and then are able to work out something at the hospital with their coworkers. I had a nurse who worked in the NICU who worked with moms, a lot of moms that had kids. It was really important to them for, some of their kids' first holidays to really be there for Christmas morning. And that was a big deal, right? So it wasn't as big a deal to her because she didn't have kids and her family wasn't there. So she was able to kind of negotiate with them of, hey, I'll take New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, or I'll work Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and you can kind of have my back for New Year's Eve because that's more important or more fun for me. So even just going with an open mind, as Kendall was saying, and thinking, maybe there is something that I can work out. If not, no big deal. But Molly, what else would you add to just this time off piece as well?
Yeah, I literally just got off the phone with a nurse before this, and she really values Thanksgiving. That is her holiday. Takes a week off every single year. All her kids come to visit her. So her initial request, it was a week off at Thanksgiving, which is a week off, so it's already a lot. And then also December time off through Christmas. And my initial reaction is, working with these facilities and account managers and nurses, I understand that it is very difficult for a facility to give both, significant time off around those two major holidays. So a thing I would recommend to say to your recruiter is, if they don't ask already, is, what is your top priority time off? I will try my hardest to get it for you. If they say no, but it's better to go in with, 5 days or less around that one holiday that you really value, that you maybe made family plans, and stick with that one. And then just be open to maybe talking to the nurse manager when you get on the unit about, the December time off, because it's not totally off the table. We just can't contract if they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a good point to bring up. And Molly, we're getting a little bit of background noise, I think, from you, but it is important, or maybe it's on Kendall's side. It is important to come with that mindset of what's critically important to me. And Molly, what you hit on was just that transparency too. Let us know what's going on. There's nothing worse than us getting an offer for you and then us having to go back and talk to the facility about time off. So I think just being as open and transparent with that in your conversation with your recruiter from the get-go, they'll let you know that we tend to have really good relationships with our account managers, with the facilities that we work with, and we have a good understanding of what it is that they really need. Doesn't mean we're not going to ask, but we'll definitely set that expectation for what you really have to have, what's really important, but then also what can you take away that will help support the facility, which is what you're taking the travel assignment for. We just have a few minutes left. And I think what I really want to spend time on as well is the holidays can bring up a lot of emotion, especially since you're potentially traveling away from family, maybe for the first time. You can be in a hospital setting that is hard if you are, as Kendall was talking about, you're the person for the family member or whoever it is that's in the hospital. And there's a lot of pressure on you to support them, especially during a time like the holidays where really our vision is not being in the hospital. It's not being surrounded by nurses and doctors as much as we love them. It really is to be surrounded by our family. So there's a heaviness that comes with being a travel nurse or being a healthcare professional in general during the holidays. Kendall, talk to us a little bit about what we provide, but also what we recommend for all of our nurses, healthcare professionals, whoever you are during this time of year.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the holidays bring so many emotions, the highs, the lows, everything in between, and being separated from your family and your standard support system, it can be pretty unsettling. And I know this is really cheesy, but truly, when you're on assignment with us, we are your family. We are the AMN family, and we're here to support you with whatever that looks like, whether that be your recruiter who you call to have that emotional venting conversation and you just have that personal one-on-one support, or if you're feeling like you want a little bit more of a clinical opinion or somebody to talk to who has that bedside manner and knows exactly what you're going through when you're describing these what can be highly emotional medical situations, right? We have our 24-hour clinical team that you can connect with if you want that clinical support in any capacity. And AMN also, we have our employee assistance program where it has plenty of benefits, but one of my favorites is we provide free counseling and therapy for yourself or members in your family, in your household. So if you do feel like you want to take it that extra step or whatever you need, we do have the resources available to you. And if that's not enough or whatever it is, like, we are listening and we are here to support you, and we will always do our best to show up for you to the best of our ability, because again, that's what family does. And when you're on assignment with us, you truly are part of the AMN family. So that way we can do our best to help take care of you so you can do your best in taking care of others. But first and foremost, that starts with you, and that's investing in you. And we care about you, and we want you to feel that, no matter if it's during the holidays or any time throughout the year.
Definitely. So well said, Kendall. And hopefully you're all hearing that. We did get a nice little chat from Gina that she was able to get her New Year's holiday time off. I want to know what you're doing, Gina, that you had to get that day off. That's so exciting, and in her contract. So yes, exactly. Ask if we can get it in there. We absolutely will. We're here to support you. But love seeing that, Gina. Let us know what you're doing. Molly, anything that you would add just to that? I know Kendall talked about PAP, but on that support factor, you are a recruiter. So how do you help support your clinicians, especially during a seemingly heightened time like holidays?
Yeah. As a recruiter, my biggest thing is trust, support. I want to be that hand when you need it. And I truly mean that. And I think a lot of our recruiters truly mean that. We build relationships with you guys. I mean, I have nurses that have traveled with me for 4 years, and I really get to know them, and it's a beautiful thing. So traveling during the holidays is really hard. Maybe you're not around your family. And I have a nurse that she doesn't, have kids. And so she works through the holidays. She takes the holiday pay. She's like, that's what I want. So she worked through the holidays, and she told me that she had a patient that called her an angel. He was, an elderly man, and said, I don't have family here, and I feel like you're my angel around. And because it does bring up emotions, so I'm almost thinking like maybe he was emotional around those times. He didn't have his family around him. And she said, I got the feeling that he was also my family because I'm in this facility, I'm working and I'm not around my family on Christmas Eve or whatever holiday you guys celebrate. But I just thought that was so touching because it really goes both ways. It's the nurse and the patient, and you can really truly be with them during the holidays in such an emotional time. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that, Molly. And I'm sure if I asked all of our listeners to just post stories that they have during the holidays, of just that elevated patient care and all that you provide. I know the days can definitely feel long, especially in the roles that you all are in, and they can be heavily emotional regardless, but especially during the holidays. And one thing that we want to leave you with is a resounding just, we appreciate you. We're here for you. And you got to take care of yourself. So really use the benefits that are available to you. If you travel with AMN, of course, we've got all of the great ones that we talked to you about. But just thank you so much for having us again. I think we're at our 30 minutes already, Rachel. So I'll have you come back on. But thank you for having us. Thank you all for everything that you do. And we can't wait to come back and talk again.
Of course. Thank you all so much for coming on. Some great advice. I love that you're an agency that's investing in your travelers and everything like that. So they're all in very good hands. So thank you again for joining us. If you're watching this later on, you can watch this on YouTube, Facebook, all of the places. So we will see you all next time.